Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Figuarts Spider-Man Homecoming Stark Suit figure. So without further ado, let's get into it. So right off the bat guys, I do want to mention the fact that I have changed my setup here. Just to get this out of the way real quick. I have changed the setup. I have everything on a bigger table now, so I have a little bit more room. Everything is a little bit more comfortable. So that's cool for my end. I did notice in the last video, unfortunately, if you've seen my review on the No Way Home upgraded suit from Figuarts, that the video was very, it was very weird in terms of the exposure. Every time I put my hands into the video or anything like that, the camera would go crazy, which was a bit unfortunate. I don't know why that was happening. So I did change the background to white, and the table is still black. And I think that works well enough. As you can see, when I put my hands in, the camera doesn't absolutely go insane. So I do like that, and I feel like the quality looks a little bit better as well. I have changed up the lighting. So if you guys have watched some of my previous videos and compared to this one, tell me if you like it or not. That would be greatly appreciated. So right off the bat, I do want to mention that this is the version that comes with the wall. This isn't the Far From Home version, and it's not the regular version. This is the one that comes with the wall. So with that being said, we're going to go right into the accessories first. So first off, you do get this, which is very, very cool. I have already utilized it in a picture that you can see on my Instagram at therealcox_studios. So I do like this. It's pretty cool. However, I think I prefer the configuration that utilizes, you take this off, you get a lot of pieces in here. I do prefer the configuration where you can kind of just put these right here, and then like this. If these are one solid piece, and then obviously these are 4 separate pieces, so I would probably do it so like one solid one is at the bottom and then one is at the top, just to get it a little bit stronger. And then you do get one of these pieces here to kind of put that right in there. It's a little bit tricky, but there we go. To make that so it's nice and strong. This is what I used for the one picture that I did, and I do like that. That's pretty cool. And as far as the detail goes, just take a look at. It's definitely sturdy. Just take a look at one of these. I do like the detail here. We get a little bit of a wash going on here, some different colors going on in there. You can see that this part is a little bit darker, which is nice. And if I turn this around here, you can see that we have some pegs in here that we can actually push out, and that actually that actually reveals that these bricks can come out. So you can pull this off, and you can see that it continues the sculpt underneath. And basically what this is for is you can use this to attach the stand that comes with it, and we'll take a closer look at that in a second. But also it gives you the option to use this light setup here. So basically what happens is you get this, and then you get this little plastic piece here, and you can actually take this apart and then kind of weave this through here, and that allows you to put that right on there. So you have the whole spider light going on, and you can put this right back on there. So that's pretty cool. I do like that. This isn't something that I'm going to use. That's why I had it in the baggie. Because, I mean, this was a cool idea at the end of Civil War, if you've seen that post-credit scene. It did show up at the end of Civil War, however, we haven't seen them use it since, so it's like, what was the point? But I do like it. And speaking of Civil War, actually, you know what, I'll get into that in a minute. But I think that this whole wall thing right here is pretty cool. So you get 2 different configurations, or if you're creative, I guess you can get more, but the box shows you 3 different ones. Or 2 different ones, my bad. Basically, this one starts off like this. And then you can slide this piece right here. And slide that in there. And then also gives you this piece to give it a little bit of strength that you can slide. You can slide it here or right here if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter. And then if you have this configuration going, then you don't really need this. So what I like to do is I like to just stick this into one of these holes just to keep it with everything so it doesn't get lost or anything like that. But this is pretty cool. I do like this. And there is a version of the homemade suit that you can get with this wall as well. So I would imagine that would be pretty cool to have both of those and put those together. So maybe that's something to do in the future. But every single one of these pieces here does give you the option to stick those little bricks out. So each of the little pieces have 2 of them, as you can see right here. And then the big pieces have 3 of them, it looks like. So that is pretty cool. So let's get this out of the way. For the rest of the accessories, you get one of these longer webs, which I'm not a fan of because I always crease them or bend them. They haven't broke on me yet, but I just don't like, it's too big for the hands. We get one of these thwipping webs, which is very nice. As you can see, this pretty clear this time around. With Far From Home, they become a lot more white, and then No Way Home, they kind of bring it back a little bit. And then you get one little one. You get this, which you're actually going to use for the inside of the head to poke out those eyes. You can see that. Speaking of which, you do get some interchangeable eyes, which is very cool. These ones are actually shaped a little bit differently in terms of the pegs than, say, the Far From Home version. So if you had this figure right here, you're not really going to be able to interchange these eyes because they're shaped a little bit differently. The pegs and the actual eyes themselves. However, if you have the No Way Home version, you can swap that out with this. So you do get those. And the setup here for the head is very similar to what we've seen. Or it's contained this specific design throughout the other figures. You do get this, which is basically a little peg that you can swap out and put in the back for your stand. And you also get, whoop, knocked the whole camera over. You get a cover right here for the back of the spider. I don't like to put these in because they're impossible to take out, for myself anyway. Get a nice little phone here, which I do want to say that I like the way that they made it, that he holds the phone here. If you notice right here, you've got a little bit of a notch in his hand. You can put that right in there. I love that. That's great. I really do like it. It's a very unique way of doing it. If you take a look at the way Mafex does it, they just give you a hand that works for the mask or a relaxed holding hand. That's how they give you a phone. And then if you have like, or that's their phone holding hand. If you have this figure, which is one of my favorite figures, shout out to Figma Spidey, they give you a specific hand that kind of has his finger out like this, holding the top of the phone. So I do really like that one as well. So it's nice to see that they give you specific hands for the phone. So you get a pair of thwipping or web holding hands, but you can see that these ones are a little bit different. Actually, yeah, these are a little bit different, so that's strange. And you can see that his fingers are disconnected on this one. Same with this one, actually. And speaking of the hands, I'll actually use these wall crawling hands as an example because they're a little bit bigger. You can see that the webs weren't painted, so that's a bit unfortunate. And if you noticed at the beginning of the video, I had him in that Civil War style pose. I was actually using a Mafex hand. So those actually can sit in here, and I do like the Mafex hands for this figure because, as you can see, these ones are a little bit small. Not only do they they're missing the webs, they're a little bit small. But he does have the fisted hands, as you can see there. Here are the thwip hands, which again, I like the way SHF does these hands. I like the way that they're sculpted. Very nice, and you can see the little trigger right there. And they do have a lot of texturing on them, as you can see. So all the details there, it's just not painted, and they're a little bit small. But the rest of the hands aren't as bad as the fisted ones. And then you get kind of this relaxed hand right here. Oh, I'm not even in the shot. You get this relaxed hand right here. and I guess this is its matching one. It's a little bit further open, so that's cool. Another phone holding hand, so you do get 2 of those. And then you get these Call Me hands. So very unique hands that we get with this figure, which I do appreciate. That's very nice, and I'm actually gonna stand Spidey up. Bring this back a little bit. Stand Spidey up right here. And he actually does have a few more accessories, believe it or not. We get this backpack right here, which is very nice, and it does have a peg on it, which I do and I don't like. I like it because it makes it secure for this specific figure. However, I would like to use this backpack with this Spider-Man, which is something that I'll go into in a minute when we talk about the figure. But he does get a nice backpack. It's supposed to be a, I actually forget what the brand's called. I think it's called Jansport or something like that. I don't know. But same style of backpack that Andrew Garfield had. However, the sculpts don't really look similar to the one that I have on hand right here. This is from TASM 2 Mafex. As you can see, the style is a little bit different. We also get this stand piece that has the crotch grabber on it. You can interchange that out with just the waist grabber. These little pieces, this is upside down, these little pieces can come off. You gotta be careful with it. Wiggle it back and forth. And you can see that those come off, and then you can place it onto here if you want. Or you can ditch this method entirely, take this off, and then plug this into the back. And if you don't like how close that is to the actual back of the Spider-Man, then you can place this into this piece, which I showed earlier, and then you can place this into his back. Well, actually, it's upside down, but... So Figma, or SHF, is always going beyond, above and beyond for these specific figures, which I do appreciate. But yeah, that looks pretty good. So now I believe that's all the accessories. Let's hope I didn't forget anything. Let's get into the actual figure itself. So the Spider-Man figure right here is very, very nice in my opinion. I really do like it. Now, when I was originally buying this figure, I just kind of got it for the collection and all the kind of accessories that it comes with. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do. Now, I know people have had problems with this figure breaking when it originally was released. I seem to not have any issues. I think when I got the figure, I think I did do a little bit of a modification to something. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like I sanded a ball down or something like that just to make it so it wasn't so stiff. Yes, as you can see, that's a little bit sanded down just to make it so it's not so tight. I did do that, so I did want to mention that. And also, something else I want to mention. In terms of the proportions, I'm not a huge fan of the proportions. If I back this up, you can see how skinny his upper body is. Now look at the distance between his bicep and the back of his tricep here. See how thin that is compared to like his legs? He's got some really meaty calves and some really meaty ankles. So now that's not something that particularly bothers me that much, but it is noticeable compared to like the Mafex. Now this actually has the Far From Home head and neck on there, so keep that in mind. I feel like these guys would have worked out a little bit better if their legs are swapped. He's got the skinnier legs to go with this figure. He's got the beefier legs to go with this beefier upper body. So I feel like that is something. If you take a look at their ankles, you can see that they're kind of the same thickness, but that's simply just because of the ball on this one. He's also got the bigger feet. Well, I guess these ones are longer, but these ones are wider. So I don't know. I was thinking about that. But the reason I wanted to get this is because to me it looks like Bandai was basing this off of the Civil War suit more than the Homecoming suit. Now the reason I say that, some people are going to be like, well, it's the same suit. Correct. However, if you take a little bit more time and look at the details of the Far From Home suit, or the Civil War suit and the Homecoming suit, you'll notice some subtle things, such as the spider is a little bit more flat because it wasn't originally going to have the little droney come out. I'm assuming it's a little bit more flat. The blues are darker in Civil War, as well as the eyes looking a little bit more silver. And you can see here that the eyes are silver. On this one, they're white. Again, this is the Far From Home head, but on its original head, they're a little bit more white. And also another thing is, these pieces right here on his belt, the web shooter cartridges, they're also black. As you can see here, the tips of them are painted white, or the tips of them are painted red. The whole thing should be silver though, which you can see here on the web shooter. It should be silver and then the ends are red. These are entirely black, which is how it looked in Civil War. Funny enough, the unused Civil War suit did have the red and silver, which is why I painted it to look like that on this figure. But overall, I feel like this is more so supposed to represent the Civil War Spider-Man. I know I have more examples of why, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head. So that's why when you seen this video from the beginning, he was in that Civil War pose, and that's kind of just how he's been on the shelf. So I feel like this is my Civil War Spider-Man, and this is my Homecoming. That's the way I look at it. So makes sense in my head. So that's what I'm going with. But in terms of the figure, let's stop blabbing and let's get into this a little bit. He has some extraordinary details. Think about this figure coming out in 2017. I think he is just as good, if not better, than some of the figures that we're seeing today. I really, really do like this. He's got some excellent texturing and paintwork all of the figure. Like I said in my previous figure review, this is one of my favorite Spider-Mans, and I think Bandai always does a great job with the paintwork. So doesn't Figma. Figma does a great job as well. This is absolutely incredible. I'm not a fan of the blue getting broken up here, but that's quite alright. As you can see that Mafex took that into account, and they used 2 different colors for the joints, so I do like that. This one, it doesn't actually bother me though. It's a little bit of a different color though, that does bother me. The web shooters are actually a separate piece, so they can spin around and you can actually have your webs follow the your position on the wrist. So that's nice. I like the shape of the head. It's a little bit more round. Even just the shape of this head looks a lot more like Civil War to me. If I remember, I'm going to put up a little picture here to the side so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about right here. But this also right here, this cut up, I've always seen a lot of guys talk about that. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me on any of my Bandai Spider-Man figures. And it doesn't bother me here. The texturing and the detailing work and this panel lining here is absolutely incredible. The detail on the bottom of the feet, it's all over the figure. Unfortunately, we just miss it on the hands. So, yeah. And I do appreciate the shoulders being the appropriate color with the No Way Home upgraded suit and also the Far From Home one. These shoulders were the same color as this blue. Here it's not because I had to adjust it myself because my original figure broke. But these shoulders are actually red, which I do appreciate. And you can see here that this just looks great. The paintwork, everything about it looks fantastic. It's pretty darn good in my opinion. So with the aesthetics out of the way, let's take a look at the articulation. With the neck and head, he does go back this far. Also, another thing I want to mention is I actually was using some sticky tack earlier when he was in that crouched pose. That's how I got his head so far up. His head doesn't actually go that far up. I had to use some sticky tack, but it does go pretty far up, as you can see. Just to get the position that I wanted to, I had to pop it off and use some sticky tack. So I did want to mention that. But this goes up pretty far. It also goes down really well. We get some pivoting here, and actually your neck can turn as well. That gives it a little bit more natural of a neck turn if you want to do that. And of course your head turns. And your attitude, we get some of that. We get the butterfly joint, which works really well. And like I said before in the previous video, there's actually a ball in the shoulder, so that gives you like a secondary butterfly joint. And then you also get the shoulder swivel along with the arms going up. With the shoulder and the butterfly joint together, you get arms that move up that far. You do get a 360. So you get a lot of range here in the shoulders. I've never been a big, I've never really agreed with the people who say, oh, we need the bicep swivel, because I feel like they give you a lot of movement in here. It's not that bad, you know. Sure, in some instances, the bicep swivel does work a little bit better, but I feel like they give you so much range in here that you can pretty much get what you want. So for me, it's never bothered me. The double jointed elbows work fantastically. Actually, now that I'm noticing this back of the elbow here, I don't like that. It would have been nice to see that be the same color as this red, as well as have a little bit of blue paint on there. It kind of just doesn't really match anything. There's no webbing on it. There's no blue on it at all, so that's a little bit strange. Yeah, so I don't know what that's about. It looks like it has the most subtle line, though, dividing the two. It just wasn't painted. Anyway, you get ball joints on the wrist. It's not just a peg, it's a little bit of a ball, and then of course you get a swivel at the wrist, and then a hinge. So you get all kinds of movement in here. You get the rocking, all that. With the combined waist and torso articulation, you can move back forward that far. You can move back extremely good amount, which is nice. You do get some nice pivoting. This is a floaty piece. Nice pivoting. You do get a swivel down there and a swivel up top, which works very nice. Legs move out this far, which is very good. Legs move up this far and also back all the way. You get all kinds of movement. What am I talking about? You can go all the way around if you want to. So that's very nice. Thigh swivel, it's a little bit stiff on this guy. Double jointed knees. You do get a foot rotation. Ankles move down, up, some nice ankle pivot, and then somewhat toe articulation. So yeah, the articulation on this guy is incredible. Also that the bending back, get him in a nice matrix pose if you wanted to. It's very, very nicely articulated in my opinion. I think they did a great job. And I'm just kind of so happy about this figure because like I said, I originally just got it as like a quote-unquote Civil War Spider-Man. But I just really, really enjoy this figure. I haven't played with him a whole bunch since I got him. I haven't really taken any pictures or messed around with him since I got him, mostly because I had him in that shield holding pose on the shelf and he just was looking fantastic. But I had to do this video, so I'm probably going to mess around with him and take some pictures soon. But we're actually going to take a look at some size comparisons here, just to get another idea of what he looks like compared to his Mafex counterpart. Again, keep in mind this head was swapped. The head he's supposed to have, the head and neck he's supposed to have is actually on this Spider-Man. This is the one that Big Bad Twister replaced for me. So if you've seen this video, if you haven't seen this video, go check it out. This is the one that replaced, so I swapped those heads on it, so that was nice. Here he is compared to his Far From Home counterpart from SHF. So you can see those two guys there. Looking pretty saucy. You can see that he's growing a little bit. But some of the other No Way Home ones, like the black and gold integrated suit, look like they brought the proportions back down, so he might be closer to this size. I'll have to see once I get that myself. Here he is compared to the Figma Amazing Spider-Man. I really do like the size difference between these two. I feel like if you have the Revoltech Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I feel like these three would work out very well together. Also have my unused Civil War suit Spider-Man. I don't think I've done a video on this figure yet, so I do got to do that. He's also got some Mafex Spider-Man hands too. The Mafex Homecoming. He's also got the ball joints too. That's also something else that I changed on this one. I gave him my bootleg Revoltech Spider-Man 3 wrists, so he has those. I just want to make sure that everybody knows which ones are altered and which ones are not, just so everybody has a good idea of what's going on. Here he is compared to the Marvel Legends Target exclusive, newly released Vulture. This is actually repainted as well. And then here he is compared to a In the Works custom endgame cap. These work out well enough, I suppose. And this guy keeps falling because of reasons. I don't know, I keep knocking the table. And then two more size comparisons. Here he is compared to my favorite Captain America figure that is in a Hot Toys. My SHF Avengers 1 cap. Absolutely love this suit. If you haven't seen the video on this, it would be greatly appreciated if you go check it out. Also, a very cocky SHF Iron Man 85. These look good together in my opinion. Very splendid. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I think we covered all the bases here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time, true believers.